Hey everybody, welcome to Rob Easterling's channel. I actually told you guys I was going to be doing this video, so as you can see by the picture up in the corner here, this is a review now of what came in the Dungeons and Caverns core set from the Game Master range from the Army Painter. So as you can see a few pieces here on my table. You see a lot of my paints. I know they're not all Army Painter. This is my little work area. It's not very big, but I do enjoy this area. And I just want to showcase some of my stuff. I know you guys might have saw the video where I showed some of my like the lava pool and the water pool, but I want to give you my opinion on this actual kit because I find that some people are building stuff. I haven't seen many videos on it out there, but I watched all of the Army Painters videos on the tutorials on how to actually create this stuff, and they really inspired me to create some really nice stuff. So I'm going to start off just by saying that you might have seen in the video too that when I opened it, there was some damage on the side from the spray paint, from the primer, and it didn't end up affecting anything I built. Everything I did was pretty much just on the top, the surface stuff. If I did, I cut it off or I didn't use it, or it won't show because it's going to be either on the edge or something that I don't really need. So the point of this is also is that what you get with it, the hot wire cutter, it's an amazing tool. This thing glides through this XPS foam. The only thing I do have to say about it is the smell. Now, I would suggest you do this in a kind of a well-vented area, ventilated area, or at least open a window close by or put a mask on. Yeah, I mean, we're used to wearing masks lately. So, because burning styrofoam is not the best smelling thing either. Uh, I do have to say too, the primer is beautiful when you prime this. It covers it perfectly. And I asked about using their, I just noticed there's a little something on there. I asked about using their little primer, their other primers, like their spray paint, like their regular one. And they told me that this could actually melt or um, wreck the styrofoam. So the primer that comes in this kit is made specifically for this foam. So supposedly people are out there looking for foams, industrial strength foams, like they're building all sorts of stuff, priming it, whatever, and they may not be getting the quality they want. This is amazing. The brushes they give, I mean, I can show you a couple of the brushes here. So this is their large dry brush right here. So as you can see here, it's the large one that you get. It's been used, you can tell. Beautiful bristles though. And once you wash it and let it dry, it is usable very easily after. They also give out a medium dry brush like that. So again, look at those bristles, like really nice. Like you can really tell this is good quality. I mean, you're going to use this later on. And then they have their actual um, what's it called? This one, the wash brush. So this is what you can use for wash, so that you get enough wash in there to be able to soak. Now I think I need to clean this brush. It's been a while. I don't know why. It seems to have soaked up a little too much wash, and I forgot to wash it properly. I hope I'll be able to get that out. And the amount of paints you get too. So these are the base ones. So you get your dungeon base as well as the cavern base. I've got a lot left in there. I don't know if you can see it swooshing around in there. There's a lot left in there. And there's a lot left in this one, even though I use this one probably more than the other one. And the other paints you get with it too, like the dungeon effects and the dungeon highlights. Now, I never noticed if they compare to other Army Painter paints. Now, I have no idea. I've never really looked. I should. I'm actually going to do a paint comparison at one point. I'm just going to put them next to each other on the wet palette just to see if they compare to another color. Uh, Now, what I like about this core set as well is you can build so much. And I'm going to go through that, really, what I built and how I built it, pretty much. How I cut it, how I came up with the ideas. And I find, okay, so the subterranean wash is just like the military shader. All right, so I have some military shader actually. Where is it? Yeah, military shader. And supposedly though, the military shader, I don't know if it's the same as subterranean wash, but this has a hint of brown in it, I found out. So, but I found they were the same almost as the other one. That almost fell off the table. And they give you a grotto slime as well, which I used right here. I did use that. But I also had Disgusting Slime, which is one of their effects paints. And I also got Putrid Slime from the D&D's Marvelous Pigments paint sets. And they all seem the same, except the Disgusting Slime has a brighter tone to it, as well as the Putrid Slime. It actually, I used a little bit on it, and it gave a bit more of a brighter tone than the one that came with it. Now, I find you get lots of paint in these little containers here, just like in their regular range of paints. The only thing I have to say is, if I want to build other stuff, do I have to use their other Army Painter paints? Like if I go into a woodland, I ordered their primer. I'm going to wait till the end of May almost for this to come out. Kind of sucks. I got to wait longer. And their subterranean primer too, I have to wait to get more because I pretty much used it all on this kit. I have some. I may have put too much primer on when I was priming, but anyways, I just find there's not enough. And I hope they come out with more core sets, not necessarily with a cutter and the ruler and all that, but at least with the glue, at least with base paints. So if you want to do woodland, maybe they'd have like a jungle green. I have jungle green as well. They have commando green. I've got all sorts of greens. But if it's a different kind of green that's specific for building terrains, that'd be great. And you'll see later, I built a gateway, and on the outside, I actually used different paints, and I'm going to mention which ones I used from their Army Painter line. So that's what's cool. So all in all, I really give it 2 thumbs up to this kit. And anyone who's a hobbyist who's looking for something to build for their D&D or even Zombicide. I mean, you could use this in Zombicide. You could use this in, maybe not Invader because this is Dungeons and Caverns. You could use it in the Castles of Ravenloft or Legends of Drizzt, or, I mean, maybe Massive Darkness. Alter Quest. You could use this. You could build something that looks similar to their maps, or you can invent your own storyline with this. Be very interesting to see what people come up with. And this is what I'm planning to do eventually, is create a dungeon crawl for my D&D group. And we're going to use all this terrain, and I'm going to live stream it as well. So I'm just going to go through some of the pieces. I know this one is kind of funny. It looks like a little demented happy face. At first, I did not plan on it to look like that. What it is though is I actually based this with the primer, and then I used some of the dungeon base and I mixed it along here to do into a cavern. So this is going to go from the dungeon into a cavern, and they can hop across these rocks. If you're a D&D fanatic, you know that you're going to have to do ability checks or strength checks or athletics checks to see if you can get across. If you hit the acid, you're going to take some acid damage. And then this has a few layers, and I made the mistake of actually creating my squares. I know you can see those lines a little bit, but I didn't indent them with the pencil, which is what you do to get those nice indents. You grab a just regular lead pencil and you go right into your slices. So these are 1-inch squares that I use their ruler, their metallic ruler, and their knife, and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. And so this one, yeah, so I use a few coats of that, what do you might call it there? The grotto slime? Yeah, so I start off with the grotto slime. Yeah, that's what it's called. So some of the grotto slime. And then I went to the putrid slime to do the air layers. And I tried to imitate what they did, and I think I finished, forgot some of the bubbles that he did with some of the white, and just like he did in Lava Pool. So you can watch their video on how to make this too, but they made just like a little lake, so it was only that big, or 2 of them. I decided to make like a river style. So if ever I want to expand this later on either side, I can. I could make more caverns that have more of the slime going further on. I just found that really neat. So, and again, talking about that slime, what I decided to do here is a piece where I have some straight edges where I could attach this to anything else if I wanted to, or I could say this is the edge of my cavern. And of course you have the edges that are nicely cut. And again, that hot wire cutter is unbelievable. I'm glad they brought instructions out on how to put the batteries in, because I didn't even know what type of batteries to put in there the first time. There was no instructions in the box. Please include those in the future. But the video on Army Painter's YouTube channel, it shows you how to put the batteries in and which kind. So, and these are all like the tufts that I use. They're all from the Army Painter. This is the rocks that come base with the kit. I think this is the tuff, which is Dungeon Tufts. I can't remember the name of all these tufts. I have a whole bunch of them, but some are greener, some are darker, some are like burnt looking. I've actually ordered some frozen ones and some tundra ones to maybe use later on. And so again, I went with that putrid slime in there, the grotto slime, mixed it in with some of the um, subterranean wash, a little bit of brink black in there to give it just like as if there was like a little, so it's got an indent, like as if a little pool was bubbling out here. And again, these are, it's amazing what you can build with this. As you can see here, I did like a layering so you can go on top. These rocks are actually from the Army Painter's basing kit, which has got a little bit of everything in it. I've actually ordered some more of those because I find them really nice. And when you dry brush them, and you want to put all these rocks on before you do all your dry brushing. And this has got like 3 layers. So you start off with your base, and then you go on to, let's say, your highlights. You dry brush the highlights on there. So I should be looking at that one. And then you finish off with the cavern effects. Okay, so you have 3 layers of paint plus your primer. And you try not to hit the rocks, but if you do, it doesn't matter because you can come back and paint the rocks with the dungeon stuff. So when you're painting caverns, your rocks and all your settings want to be with the dungeon stuff. And when you're painting dungeons, you want to use the cavern effects and the cavern base to do the rocks, so that it just gives it that nice little contrast between what you're building. So this was actually just a little junk piece I had left over from cutting some other things. And I said, you know what, I'll just use it. Doesn't matter. It's not perfect. Again, you can scratch in the middle with the crayon. You can take this. There's a rock I use. I actually found a rock. You just push it in there, and it gives it indents. Again, these are the little rocks that come with the kit. So again, once again, really nice. Now here's my first attempt at building something, and this was based off of their video. Now, again, you're gonna say, "Wow, that's really square. It doesn't look like a cavern at all." Yes, I agree. I even put a little bit of their moss grass here that they have. I have little, I don't know what kind of skulls they are. I think these are cow skulls or something that I bought off a 3D printer guy. And I stuck them on there as if they were going through a water hole and didn't make it. What I want to do eventually is take the wire foam cutter and go around some of the edges to make it more cavern looking. The only problem is it's going to ruin the side here, and I'm going to have to repaint that. I don't know if I'll use a primer or I'll just paint over it with some black or something, or some of the cavern base. But as you can see, now the water, it might look real to you there, but again, you see my squares, which I made a mistake. I didn't follow the instructions properly. I should have left the bottom completely flat, but it's because I was measuring a lot of pieces beforehand to figure out what I had, and it ended up being a, but again, if you're playing D&D, you want to know where your creature can go in the water, so it comes out pretty good in the end. So once again, this was just, and it's got 3 layers of that foam, and these are all the actual sizes. So they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 8 by 12 is what you can get out of these foams. And I didn't cut off anything. This one was all, these 3 pretty much were perfect. You can see they're a little off on some of them, that they go a little crooked. One of the bigger ones was quite off, and I lost a section, so I ended up not having 12 by 15. I think I had 12 by 14 or 15 by 13, one of those two. I think you might notice it later. So this one was done with water, some of the colors. I think this one we went, one of the other colors also from the Army Painter, I think it was uh, Hydro Turquoise, I want to say. But I think I even used fog gray in there. I don't know. I used some of their other Army Painter colors, but this was my first one, and it was really nice. But the Army Painter contacted me and were so impressed with how I built this one that they used it on their Facebook page. And I actually got a comment from the guy who created the manual that it looked like it came right out of the book. So I was flabbergasted. I mean, and I'm telling you right now, I've never created terrain in my whole life. And I've only been miniature painting for over a year. I'm not good at the miniature painting, by the way. If you look at my other videos, I know some of you are cringing at what I make, but to me, they look great and they're perfect for the table. They are not masterclass, and they never will be. So, anyway, so this is just a few more little pieces of terrain. I won't go through all of them, but this is a few where I had like different levels, so you can have some fun. Again, some of the different tufts that I use. We'll just put that over here. And again, this is like a sort of like a little hallway in a cavern. If you wanted to, you could always put this one and this one together like that, and you have like a double-edged cavern here. So you can go one way or the other and fight with your guys there. This was like a curved corridor that I got, so pretty cool. Oh, and then I think this was my second project, the lava pool. So a little dusty there for some reason. Or got some animal fur in there. which is what the joy is. But yeah, I don't know if you can see inside. It might be a little too bright, but you see those little black bubbles coming in there as if there was heat and some white bubbles. This too, I got some praise from the Army Painter saying how good of a job I did on this. Uh, Again, so this I think we used some. I used lava orange, which I shouldn't have, because the lava orange it's called lava orange, right? But as you can see, it's really orange, and they suggested using mythical orange, and that would have blended a lot easier. So I ended up putting some on top of it with a dry brush, and then the yellow I believe was moon dust, or I can't remember exactly the color. It's been a while. It might be moon dust that I used for the yellow inside to build this. And again, you can do little scratches here with a knife that they give you, which again, I'm still trying to figure out how to break off a piece because it's starting to get a little dull. And yes, the foam does dull the knife pretty well. And this is just another little piece here. So let's see here. Let's move on to some dungeon pieces here. So I decided to build like a ruined dungeon. So yeah, wall's a little crooked. That's not bad because I wanted it to look a bit like that. It's got a little bit of grunge to it. And it's got some vines that I used from the Army Painter again basing kit. So that's pretty cool. I made the walls that look like bricks. You know, so you don't measure those out with the inches first. You keep those blank and then you just measure about 1 centimeter, I believe. And then where you cut with the knife, it kind of gives it a gritty edge. But then when you cut with the actual foam cutter, it's a little bit more soft. So I had to put a little bit of grooves in it with a rock. So this is what I looked. And then this piece here looks like a piece of the ceiling fell crack and then grew some mold over the years. So that's pretty interesting. I had fun doing that. And then just your typical, you know, stairs. Always handy to have in your dungeon. And you just got your corridors, you know. Got lots of those. And then you got like some sort of, you could have like altars if you wanted. As you can see, you indent the rocks to make it look like almost like as if it was like an old pattern of a stone floor. And on the video, they show you how to make marble, which is really cool. Yeah, so I have like a bunch of these pieces. I added some skulls that I had, some over their tufts. And again, look, there is no warping. I mean, this, to me, this is amazing. And I have this stuff in the basement, so it's a little bit more humid down here, and I haven't had any warping. Like, this is just actually, the warping on that is actually from my table and not from this thing. Like, it's, to me, a lot of people were saying, oh, this is going to warp your stuff and that. So again, I mean, I have like so many pieces. You can make so many dungeons. Now, I didn't do many layer pieces in a dungeon because I really wanted it to be used for just going around and then getting to your cavern. But this was my another one of my masterpieces that I really enjoyed making was the pit trap. And as you can see, the blood is curdling down. There's skulls in the bottom. They make one of these too, and they show you how to make it with toothpicks. And I used some of their metallics color, and I believe I used tainted gold, if I'm not mistaken here. So this is a nice metallics color, and I used that on the spikes, give it almost like a rust looking. And I could have put rust effects. I decided not to. I mean, the blood is just perfect. I love how it came out, and I don't know if you can see it, but there is like you can see the drops of blood, like as if this is fresh. Some people just died on those pits. And my really centerpiece that I really love making was this. It is inspired by the entrance to the caves of Moria or the mines of Moria in Lord of the Rings. I even put some runes up here. I don't remember where I got the runes from. I don't know what they mean, but they're a bit of a blue color, just so that they pop a little bit as if they were shining in the moonlight. And my wife actually suggested that I put some depth to it. I was just going to put this wall, but then she says, no, it's a mountainside. You gotta have like as if it was mountains. So instead of, and as you can see, I didn't put any markers like on the squares or anything like that. This is just run over with a rock. And then these are put on there with effects. And I put some vines as if they're leaking down. So this was made with dark stone as the base color. And then I think I used Gollum stone or Gollum gray. And then I believe I used dungeon gray or something like that to do the layer at the end. So it's actually a different color than the other dungeon piece. I don't know if you can tell, it's a little bit more brownish black. So it looks more, and I did like a swamp entrance. So at one point, this is what I want to do is with another kit, is do a swampland area before this. And then as they come inside, as you can see the difference in the gray. This is using the base stuff, and I made some columns that are a little bit more used. It looks more rotten. There's some grass down there. My original plan was to find some of those little warrior skeletons from the dollar store or whatever, cut off some pieces like helms or their shield and swords, and lie them on the ground and paint them over to like rusted colors and like really look at. I might still do that eventually if I can find some, but that would be like really reminiscent of when they came into the mines of Moria that looked more like a tomb than a mine. And this piece to me, I got again praise from the army painter, but even before I painted it, it was just the bare bones of it. It was just looking like with the white, just the foam. And they wrote to me saying that it looked amazing. So, anyways, all in all, I have to say this kit, and I hope is amazing. And I hope they come out with more kits so that you can actually create more future sceneries. It's amazing, this stuff. I mean, you don't have to necessarily make a whole floor. Like, let's say you're making a village or a cemetery. You could make the cathedral and make these into tombstones and just lie them on the table. I mean, you could make a tombstone on top of this, so at least it stands up, because a tombstone just like this, I mean, you put this like that. Okay, fine. That went against what I was saying. It actually stands up perfectly. That's how straight some of these pieces are. This one, not so much. And if I put it like that, okay, that one stands up. But you know, I mean, you get my drift with building tombstones. I mean, they're going to be little pieces about that high. They're going to fall over, or with the wind, they're going to fall over. So I would build somewhat bases, and I would build like a mausoleum or something like that. So I have a lot of ideas with this foam. I just hope that they come up faster with their product. That's only one negative I have to say about this, but this kit is just amazing. And I don't know if they're going to come out with miniatures as well that are going to be Game Master line, sort of like Nolzur's, but I don't think so. Or they're going to cooperate with Nolzur's. And anyways, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this inspires you, because if you're afraid of building terrain, I was too. I was so, what do you want to say? I don't know the word to say to describe it, but intimidated. I was intimidated when I got this kit, and I was like, oh my God, all this foam, what am I going to do with it? And this just popped out. I mean, and these dungeon pieces are so easy to do and barely take any time. And once you get going with this, it gives you more ideas of what can I do next. I mean, yeah, they look pretty basic and kind of boring, but whenever you build that dungeon, this looks nice. It really fills in well and does a good job. Anyway, so I'll leave you at that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit a like and comment down below. Uh, Comment what you've built maybe, and go check out my Instagram, which is the link is gonna be in the description, and let me know what you think of my dungeon pieces and their pictures. Look at my miniatures, let me know, and please enjoy some of the other videos on my channel. So I hope to have a good day. So I can't wait to see your miniatures hitting the table.